Hey guys, so before we begin this video, I do want to preface by saying that this video will be containing sensitive topics, heavy topics, like people unaliving themselves and things like that. So if you are a bit triggered by those kinds of topics, you might not want to watch this video or listen to anything that I'm talking about. So if that is you, I would recommend you go watch one of my more lighthearted videos. But with that said, let's get into it. We all know that Korean netizens are very quick to follow the first juicy piece of content that comes out when it comes to news and things like that. They follow the first thing that comes out without any factual evidence backing it up or anything that supports it whatsoever. It's just accusations, and they follow it and they latch onto it, and then they spread it throughout the internet and on other public forums and literally present it as fact when it's just speculation, trying to be detectives and piecing it together, but still not getting it quite right because it's not fact. It's just speculation and it's not true. They go really, really hard on that kind of media. Like, they follow what the media puts out. They follow what the press puts out. They follow all of these things, and they follow it to a great fault, to be honest. But then when the celebrity, male or female, or even K-pop idol passes away, unfortunately, because of the pressure that came from all of this, that came from them, as well as the media and the police and the press and all that, but yes, also from the netizens, they tend to switch up and say, hey, my condolences to the family, my condolences to the friends and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then they go and blame everybody else but themselves, as if they had no part to play in this. It's like, and honestly, the power of anonymity, again, I've talked about this before, but the power of anonymity gives them the ability to just do that, because no one's going to know who you are. No one's going to know that you're the same person that weeks before this person's passing, you were spreading misinformation. You were saying this, that, and the other is true when it's not about this person. And all of this stuff played a huge part in the fatal decision that these celebrities made, and you just pretend you weren't one of the ones. I do want to be careful going forward in 2024 in addressing these specific things. And when I say specific things, I mean, when I'm saying K-netizens, I don't mean that I'm generalizing that all K-netizens are like this. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to say that, but just for the sake of being safe, I want to put it out there. I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying that this is the mentality that a lot of K-netizens have towards stuff like this. Now, you and I know that there are good, decent, common sense thinking Koreans out there that aren't buying the BS, that are upset, genuinely upset with the press, with the media, with the news outlets and all this stuff, and the YouTuber that spreads weird stuff that's not of any bearing on the case whatsoever. But things like this get spread, and it does cause problems, and there are Koreans who actually genuinely see what's going on. Now, their voices are not as loud as the people that are carrying the general thought of what's been spread in public forums and on social media and all that. This is a cycle that will continue to repeat and repeat and repeat unless, Korea learns this lesson. And for those who would say that because I'm, American and not Korean, I shouldn't speak on this. I could probably speak on it a little bit more if I looked Korean, but because I don't, I shouldn't speak on it. I want to reject that thought and say that this is not a Korean issue as opposed to an American issue. This is a human issue. Humans do stuff like this. Humans have issues. It's not about, race or whatever, national. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with them being Korean and me being American, and so things happen differently. No, the same thing happens in other countries. In America, it doesn't exactly happen the same way. Like, we don't easily buy into stuff that bad. Like the first piece of news, there's people out there that do follow drama. Don't get me wrong. In America, yes, there are, but not to the same degree that Korea is known for. Like, they don't just follow it. A number of them spread that stuff like wildfire, and it goes to such a degree that the wrong person who sees this can become overwhelmed and end up doing something very, very unfortunate in the end. And whilst we have the same power here in America to do that, we don't do it to that degree all the time. Like, it's not something that you see in America that happens all the time, but it's just in Korea, it's a really huge problem. And so I'm just looking at everything from the point of view that, like, I've seen this happen before many times in Korea. It's a problem. Even like Koreans and non-Koreans alike can all agree it's a problem in Korea to see this happen. And not just people unaliving themselves, but what happened to get them to unalive themselves. I've talked about I believe it was the Twitch streamer, Jamie, and then there's the Korean soccer player who both of them unalived themselves, and the mother of the Twitch streamer who unalived herself before her daughter did, because of the harsh, brutal, and downright nasty things that were said about her daughter, and she couldn't take it. As the mother, she couldn't take it, and this is a problem. So it just makes me feel like humanity is just not learning from our mistakes when I see stuff like this continuing to happen, where netizens gravitate towards the news or whatever piece of news comes out. And another thing to consider also is that it kind of shows this whole guilty until proven innocent way of thought within the court of public opinion in South Korea. Also here in America, we have that same problem. Well, I'll put it this way. We have a similar problem. It's not exactly the same. Korea is way more judgmental. And there is a video that I'm going to put together talking about where the judgmental, perfect stuff comes from. I've been learning about it, researching about it. So it is something that is steeped in their culture. I do want to point that out, but I'm going to point that out even in more depth in another video. But in this video, I'm just going to keep it simple and say that it is a problem. I think this is a bigger issue than a lot of stuff that I do talk about on this channel. Like, there's minor issues that I consider myself to be minor issues in Korea. But when it comes to this, like with the media, the police, all of these people are at fault. Like, I'm not just putting it all on the netizens. They're partially at fault for buying into it so easily and following it so blindly and perpetuating that kind of narrative out there without any substantiated evidence or anything backing up. Yes, they are partially responsible, but I also want to place a lot of the blame as well on the police for conducting this witch hunt, and also the media for trying to get the juiciest piece of news, regardless if it's true, false, or whatever. They went to a YouTuber's video or live stream or whatever it was, and of course the media is going to just eat that thing up. They're going to eat it up, and they did. They ate it up and then served it to the netizens, knowing that the netizens are going to eat it up. All this stuff led to, his unfortunate and untimely passing. It's unfortunate, and I saying condolences to the family and all this stuff. And I'm like, but y'all were a part of this. Like, you can't ignore what you've done. That's crazy. But I think I've been a little bit kinder tonight because I'm recording this at night. I've been a little more kinder than I thought I'd be in this issue, because I want my feelings about this to be heard loud and clear, and that people should know this is not okay. And Korea has had this problem for years, decades, and it goes back to like Confucianism and all that stuff. It's really sad to see people applying this weird double standard towards celebrities and idols, as if there's a difference between them and the average person who lives their life doing similar things that they would cancel a celebrity for doing. It's really sad to see that. It's sad to see it. It's sad to hear about it, and it needs to change. And I'm not saying that I have the power to change it just by talking about it, but I think it needs to be said and not accepted. Sometimes the absence of words can speak volumes within itself, and I don't want to just not address it at all. It's a problem. I've been saying it's a problem for a long time, but it is a problem, and it's becoming more and more real every time this happens. Not that it wasn't real before, but like it becomes more and more of a thing that needs to be addressed as we constantly see this happening more and more. But does it become more and more real for Korean netizens is the real question, because they're the ones that have to deal with this stuff, and they're the ones that have to also deal with the repercussions of an artist or an idol or celebrity doing something fatal. And will they take responsibility for what they've said, or will they continue to deny that there's a double standard that they apply to these people? That they're not allowed to make one small mistake. They're not allowed to make one misstep, but Korean netizens can make as many missteps as they want. The power of anonymity protects them from any kind of criticism or judgment or anything like that. They don't have to have that, but they have to apply that to people within the industry, because they're the high and mighty people of the industry, having your life viewed under a microscope to see every little imperfection, every little weakness, every little problem. It can become very draining, I'm sure, for celebrities. And so my heart breaks for his family, his wife, his kids, but my heart breaks also for Korea, because they still haven't learned. I think at the end of the day, netizens need to be a little more sympathetic. Not just netizens, but the media, the press. His name should never have been leaked. I honestly believe if his name was just not leaked, I don't want to assume, but one has to wonder if one of the reasons why he felt compelled to end things is because his name was leaked. I just hope that people will not be so quick to jump to conclusions based on unfactual evidence that is not really proven and has no grounding, no basis. I just hope that in the future, Korean netizens will be more sympathetic and not follow the first piece of news. Like, is it so hard to remain neutral, for lack of a better way of saying, until the facts come out, until the truth is revealed? I think it's better to remain neutral, to not sway from one side or the other, than to just full-on go at attack mode. The worst thing is that the media, or at least one of the worst things, is that the media and the press know that this is the way netizens are going to respond. It's not some big surprise, oh my god, they're attacking him like crazy people, oh no, what have we done? No, they knew this was going to happen. It happens all the time. The media and the press and the police all did this man wrong. And the netizens did him wrong too. The Korean soccer player who was bullied for, 10 years almost. People falsely accusing him of being gay, bullying him for being too pretty or too handsome or whatever, which is just wild. And he couldn't take it. And then what happened after he passed away? People were putting out messages and comments in public forums saying, oh, well, he was weak-minded. I didn't do that. I didn't do that to him. Not taking responsibility at all, basically. Jamie did the same thing to her mother, which pushed Jamie over the edge to see her mother unalive herself because of the hate that was coming towards her daughter. There are other examples, of course, but even Sully, I don't talk about Sully enough, but Sully was also severely bullied for no god daggone reason. This is a bad cycle, and not even just people unaliving themselves, but like people getting canceled in general. They're accused of being a bully in the past. We don't know. It's not factual. The one from Le Seraphim that got kicked out, it came out as untrue. Kim Garam, it was proven all untrue, but she still lost her career. I fear that Rise's Sungwon is going to lose his career too. I hope you guys are understanding and seeing the pattern here. It has to stop at some point. It really does. It really does. It's gotta stop. And the way that these companies just sit back and let it happen, you know, they just let these idols that they nurtured to become what they are just fall and get crushed under the weight of all of this stuff that's not even true, but for the sake of saving face, you would rather kick this member out of the group and destroy his contract. But of course, the more serious cases like a celebrity unaliving themselves because of the pressure coming from every side, literally. And Lee had pressure coming from every side. They did the same thing to GD, accusing him of being a druggie. Comes to find out that he wasn't, and it was the police, the media, all this stuff. The company who disowned him said he was not a member of YG. I mean, threw him under the bus. And then, of course, public opinion not being neutral, but going against GD, saying, oh wow, look at his movements, look at his sporadic movements, oh, he's definitely been doing drugs, blah blah blah, he's high on something. And then it comes out to be untrue, and then people change their tune. And I'm just like, what was the point? What was the point? You should have just never said anything. Should have just kept your comments to yourself, remained neutral, and let it play out. But you couldn't wait. And it's a problem. It's a problem. Thankfully, GD got out of it unscathed for the most part, but it breaks my heart to see this. And I could only imagine how his wife and his kids feel about this. It just shouldn't have happened. One of the worst tragedies of this is that Korea still has a long way to go in learning that this kind of behavior is going to keep producing these results. And you know what they say about doing the same thing, hoping for different results. You know, you think that you're exposing some great evil that this person has done, and you think that by exposing it, they're going to come clean and that they're going to straighten out their life. But then when the worst case scenario happens, you're all of a sudden shocked and surprised. Bruh, sis, you helped in doing this. You helped in creating this reality for his wife and kids. Like, you helped create this by spreading the misinformation, by trying to hold his feet to the fire, the same fire you would never in a million years have your feet held to because you're not a celebrity. It's just weird to me. And again, like I said, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the very definition of insanity. And that is what it feels like. It feels like insanity. And if you keep going, if you keep plunging down this hole of insanity, eventually you're going to come to, at least I hope you would come to a place where you would realize something has to change. I have to change. I have to be better. And by being better, that means stop trying to point out other people's flaws when you have the same, if not worse, issues going on in your life. You're pointing your finger at somebody, but in the reality, you're actually, literally, I'll just put it this way, you're pointing the proverbial finger at yourself, because you are a mirror and a reflection of what you put out there. I just hope that Korea recovers from this and that we can get back to holding the people responsible accountable, because like I said, not every Korean netizen is responsible for this, but the ones that are, you would dare to like say your condolences and try to grieve and mourn the loss of someone that you condemned unapologetically, and then when they lose their life, you all of a sudden just switch up like that. And that's not even all of them. Some of them hold firm to their stances and they're like, well, I had nothing to do with it, right? Like what I said couldn't possibly have contributed to what he did. He has his own mind. You know, I've seen these kind of tweets and messages on public forums before, and it sickens me to see that, to read those comments and see, wow, like these guys are really sick. I just hope that this is a learning experience and that they will not do this in the future. That's what I want more than anything, is for them to not do this in the future. This is not helping anyone. No one's learning anything from this. No one. I hope they learn not to do this anymore and to not paint everyone in this way. You know, the double standards again that's applied. Like it's nice, it's good. There's a lot of interesting things in Confucianism, but it's also very dangerous when you apply it to certain circumstances that really shouldn't require such things. You don't smack a baby with a heavy hand, right? You don't do that. So maybe that's a bad analogy, but you know what I mean. There's a certain level of discipline that's required for certain situations, and there's obvious situations that don't require it, is what I'm trying to say. And when you apply certain things to certain situations, the end result is not surprising. And that people were surprised by the end result kind of makes me worry even more going forward, because like, this should not surprise you that this had happened. Really, it shouldn't surprise you that this happened. But what do you guys think about it? I don't know what else to say. I think the police are at fault. Like I said, to recap, the police are at fault, the press is at fault, the media, and the netizens who spread this stuff, right? The netizens who took part in the consumption and regurgitation of false information. It's a tragic thing. This guy was near and dear to my heart as one of my favorite actors in the business, and I never thought I'd see the day when he would just do something like this. But I don't know. It's just sad, and it makes me reflect a lot on life. It's really sad, guys. It really is. Like, I don't know what else to say. My condolences sincerely to the family and friends and co-stars and, you know, everyone that's worked with him, that's been in his presence, everyone who has loved him from near and far. My condolences to everyone, and I hope that Korea learns from this. I have a little bit of faith still left in humanity to believe that Korea can learn from these mistakes, but the question is, will they? Will they actually learn from it? I guess we'll have to live a little longer to find out. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more content from your boy. And until next time, it's your boy Abe signing out. Peace. Love you guys. Bye.